Well, I understood and knew my ship well. I knew it was a very good ship. We'd managed to win all sorts of trophies, the Fleet Gunnery Trophy, ASW. We were very well worked up. But equally, I knew the prime threat that we would face would be fast jet air attack, fighter ground attack, and probably one of the least capable areas of my type of ship. It was very good at surface to surface, really quite good at ASW, anti-submarine warfare. The thing it was worst at was close to land anti-fighter ground attack aircraft. It meant you would almost certainly have to use your secondary mode of fire, and it was not very good at that. So I knew this threat was really quite a significant threat. I felt that there would be a fight. I sort of know what the Spanish and Argentinians are like. They'd made this big bid, they'd taken over the island, they weren't going to go easily. And I'd also flown up to Northwood 2 days before I sailed, and I'd seen how much money the Prime Minister, Mrs. Thatcher, had released from the contingency, 4.5 billion that day. Well, when Prime Ministers release 4.5 billion, they intend to fight as well. So I was pretty certain we were going to fight. Most of my ship's company, even though I told them we were going to, didn't think we would, without a doubt. And I think that was true throughout the force. They thought something would come up. I was probably the only one in my ship's company who'd ever fought before. I'd fought in Aden, but there hadn't been a sort of naval war for a long time, and so they hadn't fought. So most thought there wouldn't be a war, and it wasn't until Sheffield was struck by the Exocet that people suddenly realised this is for real. And that definitely had a dampening thing and a focus then of what had to be done. But I exercised and practiced the secondary modes and the way of doing anti-aircraft fighting. When we had the briefing about where we would go on going into the Sound, I realised I'd be very exposed, and I was. And I did say to the Commodore, I'm very exposed without any support there. Could I maybe have a combat air patrol over the top of me? But it was impossible. He had other things that were much more his priority, like looking after the invasion force and those men. But I realised how dangerous that would be. I didn't then, of course, brief my